And what about your mandatory Panamara? Is that something in negotiation? Is it a done deal?
Well, I heard it's in negotiation right now. You know, they're trying to first bid or whatever. So if I fight him, I'll fight him in August. If I don't, then I'll fight the winner out of Jesse Vargas and Kell Brook. It don't matter.
I covered a fight in Denver and I was able to see him live. Have you ever seen him? Do you know much about him?
I seen a little bit of film of him, but I ain't seen too much.
Okay. So how do you study for it? I know you're in the Olympics and the amateur background.
Look at this dude. He's killing it.
I thought Keith Thurman.
Shut the fuck up. What's up, Keith Thurman? What the fuck? Hey, look, you know what this is, right?
Yeah, you kind of like Keith Thurman.
Hey, man. Hey.
Now, what about the people who have criticism against PBC? They say Al Heyman's ruining boxing, different things like that. I mean, you look sharp. You're always at the events, get to cover the or go to the fights. So, what do you think about Al Heyman and the PBC structure?
I mean, people say what they want, but it's the fighters complaining. You don't see fighters complaining, but you see fighters driving in Ferraris and Lamborghinis and jewelry and nice clothes and stuff like that. So
jewelry, you say? What you
jewelry,
say?
shoes.
You got the shoes.
The fighters not complaining. I can see if the fighters was complaining, then that'd be something. But the fighters not complaining.
You don't feel it, then it must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, 'cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, 'cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So what's wrong with the media today?
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Now, a month ago, as you guys can see, I did these series of videos. Errol Spence Jr. back in action August 21st. Who won it? New media, and you can see a picture of Leonard Bundu with the check mark, and then Konstantin Ponomarev. And I also did this video, Errol Spence Jr., Leonard Bundu ordered, and I did that a month ago. So, it is official that Errol Spence Jr. versus Leonard Bundu is now a done deal. It's happening at the Barclays. I guess they have a separate amphitheater, and that's where the fight's going to be held, a smaller portion of the Barclays. It's happening on a Sunday, which is an unusual day, August 21st. And I got to say, man, PBC is shutting it down. Now, we have a good fight coming up this week. I'm actually going to go out there, Crawford versus Postal, cover the fight. And that's an HBO pay-per-view. Canelo just had a press conference yesterday. That's an HBO pay-per-view. Cotto's coming back, but I think that might be an HBO pay-per-view, right? So there's a lot of pay-per-view this, pay-per-view that. And on PBC, we're getting free TV. And this is the thing. There's fights like Funfara versus Joe Smith Jr. Not too many people watched that particular fight, but it was still a good card. You have Rasheed Warren avenging a loss to Payano. You got Funfara stopped by an American, Joe Smith Jr., so that shakes up the light heavyweight division. There's a new player to watch for. You got fights like Errol Spence Jr. He's been fighting pretty actively. He just fought Chris Algieri not too long ago this year. Now he's fighting in a title eliminator for Kell Brook's belt. Don't really know what's going to happen because Kell Brook jumped up 2 weight classes to fight. Hey, no, guys, Gennady Golovkin. But PBC shutting it down. Sean Porter versus Keith Thurman. Great fight. The most viewed boxing telecast of this whole year. And we're getting boxing on just different days. Sunday. I mean, Errol Spence Jr. clearly is a guy to watch for. His style. He has a cool, likable personality. I met him. People like Freddie Roach and Floyd Mayweather are praising this guy. Like, hey, I seen him knock out Adrian Broner in sparring and things like that. So he's definitely someone to check for. And we get this on Sunday like this is basketball or football. Crazy what PBC is doing. As far as the fight, Spence versus Bundu, it's a good barometer fight. Spence is young, and he's still unproven in the grand scheme of things, meaning you look at the top guys at welterweight, the top welterweight resumes, Pacquiao, of course, Mayweather, Tim Bradley, and I would say probably Danny Garcia, right? Those are bar none the guys at welterweight currently with big names that probably have the best resume. And I'm not talking about other guys who may have fought, you know what I mean, that have a good, like a Jab Judah or something, because those people aren't really active and stuff like that. And I'm talking about people who don't have a million losses. You know what I mean? Like a DeMarcus Corley. He has a great resume, but he has a ton of losses too. So this is a young, hungry lion versus an Olympian. A guy who proved he could be tricky versus Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman versus other guys, he was bombing them out. He even hurt Bundu in the first round. So to me, it would be impressive if the young, hungry lion, Errol Spence Jr., can get Bundu out of there, because Keith Thurman couldn't figure it out, and he's a good boxer. He's good moving on the back foot. He's good just boxing. He clearly has power, and he wasn't able to figure out the puzzle. So Bundu, I think, has one loss, maybe a draw or something like that. And if he can stop him, that will say something. Because you look at Bundu, yeah, he's like 40, 41 probably. He's in shape. He's clearly always in shape. He's an athlete. Like, he has an athletic look. And he's an Olympian. So, I mean, that's it is what it is. Like, of course, we want to see Errol Spence Jr. versus Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, but fighters got to fight their course. This is no different than Keith Thurman. I mean, a lot of people were worried about his competition, but when it was time, or when his people thought it was time, he started stepping up. And it was beyond the Julio Diaz. He started fighting Robert Guerrero and then Luis Collazo and Sean Porter. You know what I mean? So Errol Spence, I think, wants the big fights now. However, he has to go through his course. Now, I know some people, and I am new media, so I got to clarify some things. Some people are like, oh, why is he fighting Keith Thurman's leftovers? This is ridiculous. Fuck this man down shit, right? But you got to know boxing to, I'm not going to say you have to know boxing to have an opinion, but it helps you because it refrain from looking dumb in the situation. Errol Spence Jr. is fighting a mandatory. Of course, he's going to try to get a title shot. I don't know what will happen with Kell Brook because let's say he gets knocked out by Gennady Golovkin. I don't know how long he has to come back or whatever to defend his welterweight belt. You know what I mean? And if let's say Golovkin brutally dispatches of him and knocks him out, I don't know if he would want to fight Errol Spence Jr. right away because I don't even think he wanted to fight him before the Golovkin fight. So especially if Golovkin bombs him out at 2 divisions higher, then I don't know what he's going to want to do because Virgil Hunter said to Dante's Boxing Nation, Amir Khan's out for the rest of the year. I guess he had like a hand surgery and he's probably just taking it easy because he got brutally knocked out by Canelo. Now, I don't know. Kell Brook Triple G hasn't happened yet, so maybe he goes the distance. But so far, it's not looking good just because Brook is jumping up 2 weight divisions. In addition to that, Golovkin's on like a 23, 24 knockout streak. So guys in his division, middleweights or 154-pounders moving up 1 division like Ashita, Gabe Rosado aren't taking Golovkin's power. So we'll see what Kell Brook can do. So I don't know what happened to that, but you can't fault Errol Spence for going his career path because he's trying to get an IBF belt. He's trying to get a title shot, and he's already very close to one. This is the last fight to one. So some people are going to say, why is he fighting Keith Thurman leftovers? But do your research. Konstantin Ponomarev hurt, won't fight eliminator versus Errol Spence Jr. ESPN, right? June of this year. So I haven't read the article because I already knew about it. There's other articles on it too. So that's the situation. The first person who's undefeated, Konstantin Ponomarev, he's the one that is not available. So Leonard Bundu is the next person in that list. You know what I mean? This is Konstantin Ponomarev, his Instagram account. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his injury is because they just said he was injured. But he's sipping tea like Kermit. Right here, he's finding Dory at the aquarium or something, playing with fish. So I don't know what his injury is, but I mean, he looks to be in good shape. Maybe it's not something that's not visible. See, I mean, right here, he's Van Damme in Bloodsport. Oh. What are you doing? Keep going. Hey, Frankie, Chong Li is sweet in the gut. How's the soup, Chance? A tragedy. The coffee was tolerable, though. Now, take your big stick and your boyfriend and find a boost to catch. Ex-partner. So, yeah, I mean, he's doing the splits and stuff. So, again, I don't know what his injury is, but he's not available. So, you can't blame Errol Spence Jr. because he's not available because Jean-Claude, Jean-Claude Van Damme is my dude. But, anyway, you can't blame Errol Spence Jr. for going down the list. And that I always notice this, like Deontay Wilder, his fight with Alexander Povetkin falls apart. They blame Wilder. Why is he fighting Areola? Because someone failed a drug test. Whether you think it's legal or not, it was deemed illegal. They had to figure it out, and Povetkin no longer was available. Same thing with Konstantin Ponomarev. He's hurt. Then, I mean, he has to go on to the next order of business. Why would Errol Spence, and he's undefeated, Konstantin Ponomarev, and we don't know, you know what I mean? Sometimes it could be like a small injury that he's lingered with, and they don't want to put him in there with Errol Spence Jr., so they tell the media that, hey, he's injured, because, again, I don't know what his injury is, so that's the thing. Errol Spence Jr. is a tall order. I don't think a lot of people, especially someone like a Konstantin Ponomarev, who's like he's undefeated, like let him grow, and that's probably what Abel Sanchez, his trainer, is probably looking at. Because I think he even did an interview where Abel Sanchez said that's a tough fight for us. You know what I mean? So that might be a career move to let him acclimate and let him come through the ranks his own way instead of going in with the monster like Errol Spence Jr., somebody who's being praised like this, who's been looking good, stop Chris Algieri, something that other people like Pacquiao, Ruslan, Provodnikov, Amir Khan couldn't do. You know what I mean? So, once again, facts are facts. You can't fault Errol Spence Jr. for going down that list to the next person. Like, I used to work at Sears, and they had a raffle. It was like employee appreciation night or whatever, friends and family night they called it, right? They have raffle. They had good stuff too, like TVs and raffling lawnmowers and all types of stuff. Everyone, when you first walk in, you get a little red raffle ticket. The raffle ticket, they'll call your name. They'll be like, oh, person 007, James Bond 007. And if that person was no longer at the event, they left, they went home, and they call them for 5-10 minutes, then you lose out. And then you go down and you pick another raffle ticket, right? And then whoever answers to it, you know what I mean? And they call when they're summoned, they go up, then they win that TV or lawnmower or whatever it is. That's the way of the world. So Errol Spence Jr. didn't do anything wrong. He's trying to get his title shot. He's trying to go through whoever it takes, whether it's Konstantin Ponomarev, who was unavailable because he was injured, Leonard Bundu. So you can't blame him. And plus, I think Bundu's style is a tricky style. He's older. He's a vet, Olympian. I want to see how Errol Spence Jr. handles someone who's not going to be there for the taking. Or at least he wasn't for Keith Thurman. Let me know what you guys think. The fight is official. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego.